Welcome to No Stats, where we call it how we see it.
Back again with another one.
Back again, viewers, like,
Back
share,
again.
comment, subscribe, hit that bell. Me and Pete gonna keep delivering these content, keep delivering these NFL team pre-season predictions, regular season predictions, doing their records, doing deep dives, letting you know who's trash and who got a chance to make some noise next year. Covering NBA, NFL, boxing. We got Bud Crawford and Earl Spence coming up. So stay tuned for that. So make sure you hit that bell so you can stay connected with all the latest content.
We here, baby.
Watch the handle, it takes skill. We gotta run it back. We in the field, and you said it Jason Jack. You in your field, we looking for the facts. Let's keep it real, yeah, we talking no stats. Yeah, we talking no stats. Yeah, we talking no stats.
Brother, today we got the Tennessee Titans. Fighting Titans, man. They missed the
King
playoffs
Henry.
last year. It was a lot. It was some talks about him, trade news. Would he be moved? Looked like he's staying there. But we're gonna get started. We're gonna jump right in to Tennessee, and see what we got going on over there.
I was surprised that Derrick Henry stayed. I thought he would have been out of there by now on a contender.
Give me 1 second. A little bit of technical difficulties.
Probably because I got the hat on. Viewers, in the comments, let me know. Should I keep the hat train going? This is my first video with a hat. We're talking about 90 videos in. This is the first video with a hat. Let me know. Should I take that joint off?
All right, bro. Let's jump in. Like I said, missed the playoffs last season. After winning the division 3 years in a row. This was a Titans team that a lot of people had high expectations for after getting Mike Vrabel. Remember they had A.J. Brown before he went to Philly. Robert Woods was supposed to be a important addition to this team. Derrick Henry was maybe still be the best running back in the league, but was a monster. Teams couldn't figure out how to stop. 2 years ago, they were the number 1 seed in the AFC. They beat that Baltimore Ravens team when Lamar Jackson was that. I think that was that MVP season.
MVP, yep.
So the Titans was a team that a lot of teams thought, would be on the rise, right, and maybe get close to winning a championship. But it doesn't look that way. Like I said, after winning the division 3 years in a row, they lose it for the first year. Last year, they fired their GM midway through the season, and I think they had a winning record at the time. It was so mind-boggling. I was like, what are they doing? They fired their GM with a winning record. They had to be like 5-3. Or something, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe even better than that. But they fired a GM, and I think they gave Malik Willis some reps, right? Then they come into this off season. Like I said, the talks around, is Derrick Henry going to be traded? Then you draft Will Levis, who
I was big on.
who you were big on, right? And a lot of people are. And they wanted to see him come in and maybe have a chance to win that starting quarterback position. But you also have Malik Willis, who you drafted the year prior. And I think the committee might be out on him. I think this team lacks offensive playmakers, to win this division again, to be honest. They do have some nice additions, right? They're trying to figure this offensive line out. They got Andre Dillard from Philly. They draft Peter Skoronski from Northwestern. They're trying to put some pieces together, but I feel like they're in this phase where they know a rebuild is needed, but they're trying to hang on because they were just there. It's hard to be the 1 seed and 2 years later say we rebuilding. So I feel like they're trying to walk this line.
That just goes to show you how fast these windows be closing throughout these sports. You have to make those necessary moves in the off season or in the draft to keep you afloat. And you look at Tennessee in last season, they had 6 1-score losses. And then, like you said, moving the GM in the middle of the season and stuff like that. So, you kind of get caught in that middle of the pack, whether are we going to go this way and completely rebuild everything, but we're still right here. We're just like just like a couple signees away, a couple draft picks away from being back competitive. I don't think they get back to where they was 2 years ago. I think if you look
Nah.
at the receiving core, I don't really see many playmakers there, no big catch guys. Ryan
Got Traylon
Tannehill's
Burke,
kind of
who's
been
supposed to be that guy. But he showed flashes. But like you said, yeah, I don't see no big guys, big name guys there.
yeah. And then you
Yeah.
got Ryan Tannehill. He's on the decline. I think teams come into the game, you know, game planning for Derrick Henry. I mean, obviously, but now you know what you're kind of getting from Tennessee. You shut down Derrick Henry, you shut down the whole offensive ball club. And I think this is where Tennessee has to figure some things out going forward. And I think if you don't start the season off on the right foot, I think you eventually bench Ryan Tannehill and you get the keys to Will Levis going forward.
I agree, bro. And I think Malik Willis could be like a stash, like a guy you stash to trade. Somebody is willing to give Malik Willis at least a backup role. He's being pushed to third string now, which I think he got a win as a starter or played well. So I think that's a step backwards, and maybe you can use him and get some type of draft compensation, or maybe to draft a receiver or something like that. But the Titans' style of football needs to change. They did fire the offensive coordinator, and I think they promoted like their pass game coordinator to OC. But they have that old style of football that run the ball, make the game ugly and dirty. Let's make it 20-16, on a good night. Run the clock down, pound Derrick Henry, and then rely on the guys on defense, because they do have some veterans on defense, right? They have Autry, they have Jeffrey Simmons, they have Kevin Byard, they have some guys on defense, and Mike Vrabel he's a good coach. I do think Mike Vrabel is a really good coach, but he's of that old school mentality as well. And when you look at the past 2 years Super Bowl matchups, you have the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles, who's not running the ball down people's throats. It's exciting high-flying offenses. The year before with the Rams beating the Bengals, two high-power offense. They're not running the ball down your throat. So I think the game is slowly changing. Even the Bucks in KC when they had Brady, and they were in that Super Bowl. It's not run the ball down your throat and dirty the game up. This isn't the Baltimore Ravens back in the day. This isn't, Pittsburgh Steelers, still Curtin, Chicago Bears. That era is done. Yeah, that era is done, bro. It's offensive mentality and offensive coaches, or these offensive mindset coaches tend to excel in today's NFL, bro. And I don't know about the Titans, man. I don't have them taking a step forward. I don't have them winning this division. I think it's time. They just need to say, you know what? Rebuild. It's all right.
No, absolutely. And I think it's on the other teams in that division. I think sometimes you get in a situation like last year, Tennessee had a chance in week 18. If they would have beat the Jaguars, they would have won the division, arguably. And you look at how they season, what did they finish, 7-10 last year?
7-10, yeah.
7-10. And you think about a record like that, like, do I see Tennessee getting 6 games this year? You never know. Derrick Henry has those breakout games sometimes that can win you a ball game. If they can get the tempo of their game to be playing it their type of style.
Right.
But I think it's all up to the rest of the division. I think if the Jaguars could get an early lead in the division, they're arguably going to take it. But if they play around and they fuck around, then I think Tennessee could sneak up on a couple teams in this division. It's
like a good part about being in the division, and it's a bad part about being in the division. The bad part is, I'm gonna start with the bad part. The bad part is you're in the AFC, so no matter what division you're in, you still have to go against the top talent. Now, if the Titans were in the NFC, they could be a playoff team, possibly. But it's the fact that you have teams like the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Jets, the Ravens, Chargers, Steelers, Jaguars. Like you got to overcome a lot. That's what I'm saying. It's deep, bro. But it helps that you get to play against the worst division in the AFC. You get to see the Texans twice a year. You get to see the Colts twice a year. So that helps. But yeah, I don't. My expectations aren't super lofty for the Titans. And unless you're like a diehard Titans fan, I think you'll agree with us there.
Sorry, Titans fans.
Yeah, I do like Tajay Spears. They drafted Tajay Spears. I think he's a nice balance to Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry gives you that hard power run. He gonna stiff arm you and throw you into the dirt, and you gonna end up in a basketball game. You gonna end up in a Kings Blazers game. Like, I was just playing football.
Step on your neck, your helmet gonna go to the ground like this. Bro, real quick, bro. This team was ranked 28th in passing last year throughout the league. Do they finish worse than that or better?
Worse, I think, bro. I think Ryan Tannehill is decreasing, regressing a little bit as a quarterback. I don't know. Maybe they'll finish around that same area. I say worse, but they could be 26th or 27th. And I think a lot of that have to do with, like you said, teams are going to load the box, right? So it's going to give you a lot of one-on-one chances. And even though their receivers aren't the best, they can, make a play. So maybe it'll be a little better, because if I'm a team, I'm going in there, we loading the box. If they want to throw the ball, let them beat us that way. But we're not letting Derrick Henry just run the ball down, down our throats and get the dub.
People, we're going to be out there in the 4-6.
Yeah, straight up 4-6 beer, and I'm bringing a safety up.
You putting the safety in the box too?
I'm putting the safety in the box too. You gotta beat me. Move my corners back a little bit, just so they don't get beat off the.
You got me doing that. I don't even mean to trail up. You got me doing that now. I'll be so locked in. I'm like, see why Seth is moving people. Now I'm moving my linebackers back. I might move my outside linebacker up. And you gotta do all this so quick
before the ball gets. Yeah. So I don't see them making too much noise. But let's jump into the record prediction. We ain't gonna wait too much longer.
Got a little Hattie Titans fans. Please bear with us.
Yeah. And we had to find spots, right? Because as you can see, we got them going 7-10. Identical record to last year, but just the starts are flipped. Last year they started off pretty good and ended the season bad. I think they'll start the season bad, but I'm giving Mike Vrabel the benefit of the doubt. I'm giving Derrick Henry the benefit of the doubt in some of these games. So we got them starting. First, we're going to go 4x4, bro. First 4 games, got them losing on the road in New Orleans. I think that atmosphere is going to be exciting for Derek Carr. And I just think the Saints defense will be able to stop the run. They still got some boys over there on the defensive end, so I think the Saints will get that dub. The Chargers, this is an upset early in the season. Reason being is the opposite of what I said for the Saints. The Chargers don't really have a stout run defense. They haven't had that in years. They can rush the passer a little bit with Joey Bosa. They have Derwin James. They got some safeties and some corners, but they can't stop the run. So this might be a game where Derrick Henry you can see one of those vintage 180 rushing yard, and could give Titans fans some hope, and could give the Chargers fans, a little bit of be pessimistic or be scared.
Give them a little moxie.
Yeah, but I think the Chargers be fine and the Titans won't. Then they got to go to Cleveland. 2 similar football teams in a way. I think the Browns have a more talented roster, but you got maybe the top 2 running backs in the league. You got Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry. So I think the Browns will win that at home. I think Deshaun Watson will be a little better than next year and will outplay Tannehill. Then they got at home versus the Bengals. The Bengals have won the last, I think, 3 matchups with them. They do a really good job of shutting Derrick Henry down, so I don't think that'll change. So that's the first 4 weeks. What you think there, bro?
I like it. I had to make the audible earlier on week 2 versus the Chargers.
Yeah, that was peace calling.
Just couldn't see. I couldn't see on 6 here by Tennessee. But everything else throughout it, I can definitely see. I think it'll be tough for them to win in Cleveland. I don't think they have any chance versus the Bengals or the Saints. When you get down into the next set of 4 weeks, I think that week 5 game at the Colts could be a toss-up. Just based on, I think, where both teams will be at when they get to that game.
Yeah.
Both teams with like similar identities. I think, you got Jonathan Taylor back there for Indianapolis. They still are toss up with their QB situation as well too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that one
Reason
maybe could be either or, but
it could be, but the reason we got that L for the Titans is we have them splitting that. Right, and in these division games, these teams know each other. They're aware of the schemes. They're aware of the coaches. They're aware of the quarterbacks. And I know we have like new quarterbacks in Indianapolis, but we give the Colts that advantage at home. But if you look over at Week 13, which we'll get to, we do have the Titans beating them at home. But yeah, we got them losing to the Ravens.
The Ravens definitely think the Ravens is going to be super high powered this year. Lamar done got his bag, so I'm expecting big things.
I'm not. It's like, no,
we'll get to that.
They go into the bye week. Sorry, Ravens fans, but they go into the bye week. 1-5, bro. Panic button. You could see some changes. You could see Titans fans asking for Will Levis. I don't know. I don't think you fire Mike Vrabel. That could be a possibility. But then they come out of the bye week at home, two weeks to prep for the Atlanta Falcons. And I think they can get a win here. I think they can dirty this game up, make this a boring, ugly game, and get the win here with their players rested against a young Falcons team and figure out a way to pull it here. So I got them getting a win there. Then they go to Pittsburgh. I don't think they can beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh, but I'm going to jump to week 10 and I'm going to let you go.
Look at this guy right here. This guy does this every schedule. Like, I can't wait to see what the Bucks schedule looks like. Like, oh my God, in Tampa? Like, oh my God.
In Tampa, bro, I have the Titans getting this win, bro. I don't think Baker, like I said, the Titans more talented roster or group of guys is on the defensive end. And I think they will give Baker some troubles, bro. Jeffrey Simmons is a monster. I think it's going to be hard for Baker to even get the ball over him. I think having Baker throw the ball 35, 40 times is going to be a lot to ask because Tampa, I don't even know who Tampa's running back is currently. So you got to rely on him to throw the ball. You have great receivers, but that's a dependent position. And so a lot of this lies on Baker. I think Tannehill is better than Baker. I think a lot of people would agree. So I have the Titans getting a win here. Go ahead.
We're gonna let it rock.
We're gonna let it rock.
In Tampa just has me baffled. We're talking about a team that can't even beat the Colts in Indianapolis. But we're gonna let that rock. I don't want to make every segment that we do versus the Bucks.
We're gonna get there.
Everybody out there, remember this face because this is how I be looking every time I look at one of these schedules. Because the Bucks have yet to get a win from this man, so I can't wait to see that.
Listen, how does this sound? They won't go winless. Does that make you feel better?
He means that by saying 2 wins.
All right.
We can love it. We can love it, brother. We can love it.
Week 11 at Jacksonville. I think that's a loss. I think the Jaguars are the best team in this division. Trevor Lawrence, Doug Peterson, Calvin Ridley back. They got some weapons. They're exciting, and they have the better quarterback. I think they'll win this. Probably not by a lot, but they'll win this one. Then they're home versus the Panthers. I have this being like kind of a upset loss. It's in between two division games, right? And I think they'll, after coming off the bye, beating the Falcons, I think that Steelers game will be closer. They'll beat the Bucks. Then they'll go into Jacksonville, and that's a tough stretch. The Steelers play physical brand of football. The Buccaneers game won't be easy, but I think they'll pull it out. I think that'll be 3 physical games, and then I think
on the road too. That's tough.
On the road, tough. Right? Then I think coming back, they'll be kind of sluggish, and I think the Panthers will be able to pull an upset off here. And I don't even know if technically you call it an upset with a 7-10 team, but I think the Panthers will be able to get a win on the road. Then they get the Colts visit in town. They're not losing. I don't see them losing 2 home games back to back. I think they'll beat the Colts. But then they got to fly to Miami. And Miami, is gonna be ready for whatever the Titans. I don't think Titans will be able to keep up with that offense, in any shape, way, or form. And Miami has the corners to say, I'm gonna load the box and I'm gonna leave Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard on whoever your receivers are. It's gonna be bad.
It's gonna be
That
tough.
could be a blowout. Yeah, that could be a blowout. I could see 35-10, honestly. Then they'll play they get the Texans at home. They'll win. So they got another 2-game home stretch where they'll split, losing to the Seahawks. I think Geno Smith and Pete Carroll and them boys will come in and get a dub. But then they finish the season out, and maybe this is too optimistic. I could see 2 losses here. I really could. But they're at Houston. Maybe C.J. Stroud's doing well. But I have the Titans pulling this one out. I still think that this will be this is going to be a 12-9 game. This going to be a third.
With the week 17, the Texas game?
Yeah.
I was looking at, I didn't mean to jump ahead. I was looking at this week 18 versus the Jaguars, and I like it a lot. Like I stated in the beginning of the video, the Jaguars actually won in week 18 last year versus the Titans. They won 20-16 to secure the division. So I know we have them going 7-10 here, but don't be surprised if there's a little bit of what am I forgot what the word I'm looking for. Like just surrounding the game, like a storyline behind the game. Like the Titans might be in a situation here where they maybe can sneak in to similar fashion like last year, and now the Jaguars are on the other side of that. So
it's possible. It's definitely possible. A little parody, absolutely. But the reason I have the Titans taking this one, I think the Jags will have won the division already, and I think and I don't want to give nothing away, but I think the other divisions will be settled, right? I think the 1 seed and the 2 seed in the AFC will be settled. There'll be no chance for, There'll be no chance for the Jags to jump another team and get a higher seed. So I think the Jags will rest the starters. They'll take the 4th or the 3rd seed, whatever they get, and the Titans will pull this one out with Will Levis at quarterback. So 7-10. Not too bad. Could be worse. Could be worse. But as we always do, bro, show me a game where they could possibly win an upset. Just give me one game. I don't think it's too many on here. But one of the losses on here that they could possibly switch to a dub.
This was crazy because as you was going through it and as you was throwing the things at me, I'm like, yeah, there's no way they win this game. But those be the games that next thing you know, they're fucking up 3 in the 4th quarter. The team that's down 3 got to make a drive. But I was going to say week 14 against the Dolphins. You just beat the Colts. If everything plans out, we're talking about ending the season on what? Ending the season 5-1. Dolphins that have a lot of high stakes then, I think this would be based on the situation that they'll be in at the time. But they'll be arguably high favorites if everything works out the way it's supposed to work out. And I can see a little bit of complacency here. I can see a hungry Tennessee team coming out, maybe going up 21-7 early. Dolphins that have to play from behind. We'll get a little bit of a slugfest. Derrick Henry probably have one of those games, but I would say the one game will be week 14 in Miami.
Interesting. I think if it's in Tennessee, it could be, I think the Dolphins' issues, and we'll get into that. It's not a Dolphins take, but will be the cold weather. But the fact that it's in Miami, I like Miami winning that one in fashion, but in
that little sunshine.
Nice fashion. Yeah. But the game I'm going to, if I had to pick one, would be week 1 against the Saints, bro. Reason being is, like I said, you got a new quarterback, still trying to figure things out, and training camp and preseason, all of that is great. But it's nothing like when them boys is actually trying to take your head off. So I think it could be an adjustment period for the Saints. The Titans could come on the road and just play spoiler and start the season off a little well. Gives people some optimism, some hope. Starting off 2-0. But if I had to pick one, that'd be the game.